let me tell you a little bit about us very quickly. We're the nation's largest developer of independently owned retail stores. We've been in business since 1993. We've opened over 4,000 stores. Um, we open dollar stores, dollar plus stores, 123 and 135 stores, which are very unique in our market, in any market. The dollar only stores, of course, are very much like a Dollar Tree. The Dollar Plus stores are very similar to a Dollar General or a Family Dollar. And the 123 stores, where everything sells for $3 or less, are very unique. There's really nothing like it in the marketplace. So even if you're in a location that has some of the competition from those national retailers, you can be very different. What we've done is we've taken the best of the dollar store product, and about half of that 123 store is made up of the best dollar store products that are available. Then we take the balance of the store and we add to those different categories within the store items selling from $1 to $3. So you have the kind of the wow factor of the dollar only product, which is very important. But then you have the ability to offer more variety to your customers because you can go beyond the dollar price point, touch a lot more categories. The margins are typically higher on the over a dollar product, so it not only gives you more horsepower in sales, so to speak, but it also gives you more bottom line profit, which is of course what we're all looking to do. So those are the different formats we do. And when you get into, if you come on board with us, when you get into real estate, as we start looking at locations, we're always going to suggest to you what might be the best format for a specific location based on the competitors and other variables. Good evening, welcome. Thanks for joining us. So, in our program, we have basically seven key services that we provide. We provide financing assistance, site location assistance. We help you find locations. Once we find a location that you like, we negotiate the lease. If we get to a set of terms that you're comfortable with, we then have you sign the lease agreement. Then we complete the complete store setup, including all the fixtures, merchandise, interior signage, outdoor signs, everything that you need. It's 100% turnkey. We have a comprehensive training program. Normally, we would do it either online or in our office, but due to current conditions, we basically are doing it online, but it's very, very effective. Um, you become a member of our supplier network where we can provide you savings of 20 to 25% every time you buy merchandise, uh, as compared to what you would pay to those very same suppliers not being part of our network. So it's very, very significant being part of that supplier network. And then, of course, we provide you with the best long term support available for the life of your business. And unlike a franchise, we do not uh, charge any fees or royalties. Uh, it's your business. You're 100% in control. We're with you every step of the way from start to finish and then beyond, certainly. We assign you, once you're open, we assign a merchandise coordinator, which will stay in contact with you for the first 90 to 120 days. Good evening, welcome. We're just getting started. That coordinator will be in contact with you virtually every day for the first 3 to 4 months, uh, tracking your sales with you by category, helping you to rebuy merchandise as you need it, getting ready for every season, helping you source product that you may be getting requests for, and so on. After that first 3 to 4 months, if you're comfortable with how your store is performing, and we are as well, then we move your store to a long-term coordinator's desk, and that person continues to perform that same support for you. Good evening, welcome. Uh, we're just getting started. That long-term coordinator provides that same support for you for as long as you're in business. Um, you get new merchandise updates, new supplier updates virtually every week, new goods information, which is extremely critical in our system. The three legs of the merchandise system that are so important are value, variety, and new merchandise. We provide value by the supplier network where we negotiate prices for you on all the items that you can select from for your store each and every week, and you get that updated information. Variety, because we have over 80 suppliers, many of them have freight guarantees, so that you can, wherever you are, you'll be able to buy product that no other independent in your market is able to buy, A, because of the pricing, and B, because of the freight concessions that we've negotiated, whereas an independent without that support has to buy from suppliers very close to them because they have no other options. So their merchandise uh, assortment is going to be very limited. In your case, you can buy from suppliers all over the country and have product that nobody else in your market has. So it's the variety aspect is very important. And then, of course, new merchandise, very critical because when people shop your store, they shop two ways. First, they come in for the items that they know they need, the items that are on your shopping list or my shopping list, and they're typically consumable items, paper products, snack foods, health and beauty aids, things like that, things they know they need and they use every week. So once they've come into your store and they satisfied those needs, they found those items that are on their shopping list, then they start to look around and maybe they see, for example, a table runner. Looks like a great value for $1, so they'll pick it up and they'll put it in their cart. And maybe they'll come across a man-made chamois for $1, which again is a great value. They can use to wash their car. Uh, and then when I shop, typically I grab a few toys for my grandkids. So so now that maybe 6 or 8 or $10 transaction that the customer expected to spend in your store now is 15 or $20 because now they're buying items that they didn't know they needed, but the perceived value on those items is so good that they have to pick them up, and so they do. Now, when that customer comes back next week, uh, they need those consumables again, the paper towels, toilet tissue, things of that nature. They don't need the table runner because it didn't get used up. They still have it. They don't need the chamois. It's still sitting in their bucket to wash their car next Saturday. And in my case, if my grandkids haven't destroyed their toys, I don't need those. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. Uh, so,
Yeah.
so when that customer comes in, if you show them new products again that they haven't seen before, now they're a customer again. So the new goods component of the merchandise system is very important, and we provide you with information on hundreds of new items each and every week and help you select the ones that are best for you. So that is kind of our program in a nutshell. 100% turnkey. We help you with financing, finding the locations. We work with you directly on finding the locations and leasing. We assign a team to work with you. You'll have access to a website that we've established so you can see all the information about every location that's under consideration. And it's interactive. You can go in there at midnight and say, gee, John, I like this location, but there's a big tree in front of the store. Can we get rid of that tree? Or I went there last night and the parking lot really isn't well lit. I don't feel comfortable with this location. Let's look for something else. So we work together on those things, your real estate team and you, and I monitor all that activity from start to finish in my role as a general manager here. So that is our store development program in a nutshell. What I wanted to talk a little bit about tonight is good evening, welcome. What I want to talk a little bit about tonight is the situation that we have right now, and there's a lot of things going on in the world. I know we all watch the news. We're totally in tune, and I'm sure we have folks on the line from all different points on the compass here in the country. So, um, some areas it seems like this COVID-19 is starting to level off a little bit. In some areas, it seems like it's on the downturn, which is wonderful. Um, and I know it's going to be certainly a couple of weeks before things start to open up a little bit in terms of shoppers and people getting out and about. But the key thing for our business is dollar stores are considered essential businesses. They're open in virtually every market. Uh, and people are hitting our stores right now in incredible numbers because we have those basic items that they need every day. Uh, Paper products, food items, um, health and beauty aids items, all the products that people use week in and week out, and that a lot of the grocery stores are in short supply. Good evening, welcome. We're already underway, but thanks for coming in. Um, all those items that the grocery stores are in such short supply now in a lot of areas, our stores typically have with no issues at all. So we're seeing customers uh, that we've never seen before. They're, people that maybe didn't shop dollar stores in the past are shopping them now in increasing numbers. And what I know is that those customers are going to be our customers or your customers long after this COVID-19 situation is in the rearview mirror because they're finding value, they're finding variety, they're finding good service. Um, if you kind of think back to 2008, 2009, when we had that pretty severe economic downturn, um, dollar stores got more customer traffic than ever before. People had to shop in dollar stores because they needed the value that they could provide. They needed to buy that less expensive product. They didn't need a name brand necessarily. They needed good value. And every survey that I've seen since then says that when the economy got better, those customers stayed at dollar stores because they like what they found. And I know this scenario is going to be no different. So right now, the the dollar store customer base is growing and growing and growing, and people that are getting ready to open their stores now are in a great position to take advantage of that new awareness of dollar stores on the part of so many shoppers. Um, right now, what we're finding in our real estate department, and I'm in here every day working with our folks, landlords are are continuing to be more motivated than ever to make deals. You know, they know that unfortunately some marginal businesses are not going to survive, and that's a sad thing, but it's reality. So they have locations available. They want tenants, and they want tenants that are going to be viable over the long term, and they know that our business can deliver that to them. So landlords are providing lower rental rates, than we've ever seen before. They're offering longer free rent periods than I've seen in years, quite honestly. And we're negotiating in virtually every lease to get delayed possession. And what that means is if you were to sign a lease today in a normal world, maybe you'd have 60 or 90 days free rent to kind of get your store set up and establish your business and so on. Landlords understand, and we understand, that right now, if you were to sign your lease today and the store is ready to be occupied today, you may not want to open for 30 or 60 days because of things that are going on in the world, I'm always going to recommend that you open up sooner rather than later. But if you choose to wait, you certainly can. And we've negotiated with landlords delayed possession dates. So if you were to sign your lease today and you had 90 days free rent, and in that lease we said we want to delay possession until June 15th or July 1st, landlords are very agreeable to doing that, and then your free rent period starts after that. So that's an option for virtually every lease that we're negotiating right now. Um, so many other advantages on top of that. The lenders are very aggressive. Uh, Interest rates seem to be dropping. You know, the prime rate is down. Good evening, welcome. Prime rate is down. Uh, I just read last week in the CARES Act that Congress passed. I'm sure everybody's familiar with that. If you have a 401k, typically if you borrowed from a 401k to open your business, there's a penalty for taking the money out early. There's interest involved in keeping that money out for a period of time. Right now, there is no penalty. You can keep that money out of your 401k for, I believe, up to 3 years without any penalty at all. And then you can keep it out for another 3 or 4 years before you have to pay it back at a very minimal interest rate. So the government's doing things that will help new businesses establish themselves. And when you talk to our reps, they have much more information about that, certainly. Um, I know that, as I say, customers are hitting our stores in droves. And I know even when things kind of return to normal, whatever normal is going to look like for the next little bit of time, people are going to be staying a little bit closer to home as much as they can, which means that there are going to be more in-home events, Memorial Day celebrations, Fourth of July celebrations, uh, luau's and summer barbecues, and other types of backyard events. And our stores have all the product to support those different activities, be it barbecue, party supplies, uh, anything that you can imagine. So I think that's going to be a nice little added benefit for our store owners going into the summer and early fall holidays. I know people are going to be sticking closer to home, having events in their home rather than going to birthday parties, rather than taking a group to Chuck E. Cheese or some venue like that where they're going to be exposed to a lot of people that they don't know and maybe don't feel comfortable with. So that's going to be an advantage for our stores for a pretty good period of time, I think, after this is all behind us. So with that all being said, I'd like to open it up to questions and see What questions you might have, just kind of shout them out. We'll try and just identify yourself. And sometimes, we have a tendency to talk over each other, so I'm always going to let the ladies go first if if they would like to. It's the way I was brought up. So questions?
How much does something like this cost?
Okay. Our basic dollar store package at 1,000 square feet starts at 76,900, and that includes everything, all the fixtures, all the inventory, the indoor signs, the outdoor signs, the work that we do in finance and site location, the setup of your store, and the long-term support. And most often, we can get up to 100% financing, including working capital, with a on approved credit.
What question? What square footage would this figure represent? What square footage of a store would this figure represent?
A 1,000 square foot store.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it would be, for 76.9, and we have pricing on our website for every size store. But the
Okay.
1,000 square foot store starts at 76.9.
I do have another question.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
These stores, are you able to accept the EBT SNAP cards?
Yes, we have a program for that. You do have to have your store
Okay.
open before you can make that application. But in training, we go over
Okay.
how to go about that and what's required. Yes, that's one of the that's one of
Okay.
the add-on revenue items, which I'll talk about in a little bit as well. We have, and let me interject that really quick, and I'm sorry, but I want to get this in front of everyone. We have any number of programs that you can add to your store. There's some noise in the background. If someone could mute their phone, please.
John. Yeah, that's what I was about to ask you, John. Can you ask them to mute their phones, please?
Yeah, if we're getting a little bit of, it sounds like feedback maybe. So if you would please mute your phone, whoever that might be. Thank you. There you go. Much better. We have some other add-on programs, and I just want to touch on them very briefly, and then we'll get back to questions. The EBT, certainly we can help you add to your stores. Some stores will add mailbox rentals. Right now, identity theft is kind of a big concern for a lot of people. So you can actually put in a program in your store that we put together where you can rent mailboxes. It's relatively inexpensive to set up. Key making, we have a key duplication center. Keys at Home Depot cost $4 to $5. You can do them for $1 and make a 2-time markup on keys. So many other things. Custom banner printing. We've got a program. If your store is busy enough and you think it might be interesting, we can print banners. You can print banners, for your customers while they wait. They actually design the banner standing right there in the store. Computer printer and a piece of software. Much less expensive than Signorama or any of those sign type stores. And there's so many other services that you can add. Notary services, faxing services, lottery tickets, bill pay. You can add beer and wine sales or tobacco sales. We can help you with all of those programs. So it's so much more than just a dollar store. The dollar store obviously is the engine that pulls the train, but you've got a lot of traffic, so why not take advantage of that customer traffic and provide these other services? And many stores are doing that now.
The thousand square foot store. What's the average volume that will do?
The average volume, it's kind of difficult to get that. Rough numbers, because understand that every locale is different. The environment is. Yeah. We look for a store to do about $160 to $200 a square foot. And again, as I say, it varies so much by geography, who the competitors are, what the store environment is like, but in that range. And what we do as part of our program, and it's a good question.
So what was the answer?
$160 to $200 a square foot annually. That's what we look for. And what I was going to say is that once you're in real estate and we're looking at locations, when we get to a location that you like, say, gee, I really like this space. I like the rental rate that you've negotiated. It looks like a good package. I can sit down with you, and I do this all the time, and we can put together a worksheet where we can kind of estimate the revenue expenses for that specific location, so you can have a good basis to evaluate that location and see if it's going to be productive for you. And I do that all the time.
How does Dollar make money if it doesn't charge royalties?
You know, I'm always happy when people ask that question because I know they're worried about us, and I very I very much appreciate that. But the answer is we make a small profit on every store that we develop, and we do a lot of stores in the course of a year. That's been our business model since 1993, and um, never changed.
How many
So,
employees you think you need to run the store?
How many employees?
Yes, please.
Varies by store size. If you take that 1,000 square foot store for an example, that requires about 74 work hours a week, and it can be a combination of one full-time person and mostly part-time people. And it kind of depends on how you're going to approach your business as well. You may be you may be an owner operator where you're going to work the store full time, maybe 40, 50 hours a week, and you only need a couple of part-timers. Or you may be an
I
absentee
see.
owner and you need some more work hours. But typically about 74 hours a week is enough to adequately staff that store.
You
Do you have
mentioned
any
about
idea
beer
what
and
you're
wine we
failing?
can sell. How about the license, to obtain the license to sell beer or wine? Do you help us out in getting the license?
Yes, the way that would work is typically first when we're negotiating the lease, we make sure that uh, beer and wine or tobacco are carved out in the use clause, so the landlord is going to approve your ability to sell them. And then before you actually do that, we'll work with you to contact the city or the county authorities, wherever they might be, to see exactly what the requirements are. And then you, as the store owner, actually have to make the application, but we'll do all the groundwork for you and find the resources
And if
because,
we are permitted,
I'm
if
sorry?
we are permitted to sell beer, wine, is there any additional fee you guys charge, or
No, no,
do
not at
you?
all.
Do, okay.
Not at all. If you want to,
Question,
yes, sir.
question for you, David. How much realistically does it cost to open up one of these? Like, what's a minimum down deposit?
Okay. To get the process started, it's a $500 fully refundable deposit. And what that does is that gets you first into finance, and one of our finance uh, advisors get on the phone with you. They'll they'll do what they call a soft pull or a soft inquiry, so they can see your credit, doesn't impact your credit in any way. And then they contact. There's a number of lenders that we work with, and based on your credit score, they'll come back and they'll tell you which lenders can work with you, what the terms are, how much you're pre-qualified for, and so on. And again, uh, doesn't impact your credit one iota. Then, if you decide to go forward, then we get into real estate and start working on locations. If you decide that at that point you don't want to go forward, you don't like the terms of whatever the loan might be, things of that nature, we just refund that $500 and we part as friends. And that
Okay,
that holds
great.
that holds true any point up until you're ready to sign your lease. You can stop the process at any time.
Okay, thank you for your answer.
Very well.
Also, what I need to just get in contact with you tomorrow
Yeah. Now
to start the process?
you had mentioned David, and that I'm John, but David obviously is your sales rep.
Oh, okay, sorry.
No, that's fine. What was your name, sir? What was your name?
John, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead. Hold on one second. The gentleman that I was just speaking with, what was your name, sir, so I can have David reach out to you?
Aramis, Aramis.
Great.
Last name, last name.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Last name?
No, last name is Brazil, B as in boy, R, A, Z as in zebra, E, A, L. Aramis, Brazil.
Very good. Thank you, sir. I'll have David reach out to you tomorrow if that's okay.
All right, thank you.
Great. Thanks for
Can
your
you tell
question.
me what your failure rate is on opening of new stores?
Sure. it's understand that since we're not a franchise, we don't get all the reporting that a franchise might get. But what I can tell you is that anecdotally, over I'm going to say over 3 years, there's probably about a maybe a 10% fallout where people either don't go forward and renew their lease, or for one reason or another decide not to continue operating their business. Most often, it's two reasons. One, that um, they may be a little underfunded when they open their business, and so they're kind of on a shoestring. We typically recommend that somebody not do that and wait until they're a little bit stronger financially. But ultimately, it's the owner's decision as to what they would like to do. So that can be an issue. Um, the other thing that sometimes happens is that if someone has never owned a business before, it's like anything else. Everything looks easy from the outside, and I will tell you, this is a very easy business to run. I had my own stores years ago, and it is a lot of fun, and it's an easy business, but it's a business, And if you've never had those responsibilities, it can be a little overwhelming. So we do everything we can to prepare somebody for that, to make sure that they mind their business every day. I was talking to a gentleman last week, and he really wasn't grounded. And I said, if you're thinking that you're just going to come in on Friday afternoon and box up the money and take it to the bank, you may want to take a little pause to think about it. Because I said you could be very successful, but you're going to have the toughest boss you ever had if you do it right. So I guess that's the best answer I can give you.
How many stores do you typically sell in a year?
A year?
And what kind of separation would there be between stores?
Okay, fair question. We average about 60 to 80 stores a year. Some years a little bit more, some years a little bit less, but that's probably a pretty good number. And when you say separation, you mean physical separation?
Yeah, what protection do I have that you don't sell somebody, across the street?
Okay, good question. The short answer is that it's not something that we would ever do, because it would hurt us, and it would hurt you, and it would hurt the new store owner. So we never do that. What we often do, and what we do when we start a site search, it doesn't matter whether it's our store or any other competitor. We want to make sure that when we're developing a new store, that they have a unique trade area, and whether that means population or distance from other competitors, um, it depends on the area. And I'll give you an example. We're working in Louisiana for a store right now. And when we initially mapped the competition, we mapped a $3 store in the area that the client is interested in. Whether it's a store that we developed, or a Dollar Tree, or Family Dollar, or some other independent owner, doesn't matter. They're competitors, and we want to make sure that our new store owner is going to be insulated from that. So it's something that we always do. We were working in Louisiana the other day, and I have an owner there that has several stores, and every location that the site locator brought to me, they said, well, this is pretty close to so-and-so store, but I think it's unique. And I said, no, it's not. Go back to the drawing board. And sometimes if it gives a client comfort, I can always work into our purchase agreement. We'll together agree on a kind of a protected area, or a zone, if you will. And I'm always happy to do that, because I know we're never going to step on it anyway.
John, do you advertise about your company?
I'm sorry, I didn't get the first part of that.
Do you advertise your company in TV or magazines from time to time?
No, we do not, and there's a good reason for that, and I'll explain it. If you do advertising for the stores, that people see that as a franchise, and the powers that be would see us, like Subway, for example. You see ads on TV or hear them on the radio for Subway all the time. They're a franchise, and their owners pay into an advertising fund, whether they want to or not, so that those ads can appear. Our stores, every store operates under a different name. You'll get to pick your own name. I will help you with that. So, and in training, we go through ways to market your store to the public, both the more traditional means, newspaper, We do a lot with social media. Our stores do because it's so powerful. And in addition to that, there's some things we go into training about called guerrilla marketing, where you can create a lot of interest for your store for virtually no money, and those are things we talk about in training. Good question.
Hey,
Is
John, I have
there
a
any
question.
contract between you and us? Is there any contract between you and us?
The only contract is the one for us to develop your store, uh, and we only execute that once we found the location and you've agreed to all the terms of the lease and you're ready to sign the lease. And that contract is only the agreement between you and our company for us to develop your store, to provide the merchandise, provide the fixtures, send the crew out to set it all up. And once your store is open, that contract is completed. You're not
So
obligated
after
to
some
anything.
time, suppose if it doesn't work out, we can close any time without your permission?
Yes, absolutely. It's your store. You can take it any direction you choose.
I have a
John,
quick
is
question,
that-
Is
John.
there any return policies?
One in terms of the merchandise, no. Once you purchase the items, they are yours, and that's not us. That's the
No,
suppliers.
but
Oh, I'm sorry.
I see. So we have to build our own return policies if customer buys
Oh,
today
in the
and
store?
after 1 week he brings it back.
Yeah, you would establish that on your own. You know, typically what I recommend is you know, it's a good question. Almost nobody returns merchandise to a dollar store because it's almost always for a dollar. Typically, what I do is somebody comes in, the item is defective, and I know it's mine. Of course, I'm going to exchange it for them. That does happen.
I have
I
a
see.
question, John, if you
Yes,
don't
go
mind.
ahead.
This is Kenneth from California.
Yes,
Is
go
there
right
a
ahead.
fee for the long-time coordinator? You mentioned a long-time coordinator. Now, is there a fee for that?
No, sir. No, it's part of what you buy with your initial package.
Okay, great.
John,
Okay,
a
thank you.
1,000-square-foot store at the bottom end to generate $160,000 a year. What is the cost of product on it?
Average cost of goods is about 54 to 55 cents in a dollar store. So you have a gross margin of about 45%.
So after you pay your rent and your labor, there'd be nothing left on that if you're doing it at $160 a square foot.
And
What
that's
would
not
be
an,
left?
well, that's not entirely true, and that's why I hate to give a number, because it can be left if your rent is $6 a foot, which in some parts of the country it is. And that's why
Yeah,
once you come on board, we
John,
actually. I'm sorry.
yeah, but $6 a square foot, where I am, is you wouldn't get anything for $6 a square foot.
Okay, so where are you, sir?
It's in New York, Staten Island.
In New York. Okay, I'm very familiar with that area. And of course, that 160. Just hang on just a moment. That $160 a square foot certainly wouldn't be what you would look to generate in Staten Island. So I'd be happy if you want to call me tomorrow, if you wouldn't mind doing that. Let me give you my number, and we kind of talk about that more specifically.
Go ahead.
It's 702-570-3911. And what was your name, sir?
Tom.
Tom. Okay. Yeah, please do that. Give me a call tomorrow, and we can talk more specifically about your part of the world.
Very well, John. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Next question.
John, one question, like you say, it's our own store, but it will show the name Dollar Tree, right?
No, not Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree is a corporately owned store. An individual like you or me cannot own one. So we do stores just like Dollar Tree for me that can't.
Okay.
What
Got
size
it.
is the average Dollar Tree store in
Dollar Tree, they run 8 to 12,000 square feet. The older iterations are a little bit smaller, maybe between 5 and 8. The newer ones are about 10 or so.
Yeah, they're big stores.
Yeah, and they vary quite a bit because they typically take existing locations. They don't really build much, so they can vary a lot depending on the spaces, the boxes that are available where they're looking.
Okay, available, absolutely.
What's the average gross profit on 1,000 square foot store?
I can't even answer that question without knowing so much more about the specific location. Gross margin on product is 45%. But beyond that, without looking at a location and knowing who the competitors are, where they are, what the rental rate is, it's just impossible to answer that question. And that's why our process is such that before you ever make the final decision on a location, I sit down with you and we go through the numbers for that specific space.
Okay.
John,
So when you said it's light,
I'm sorry?
so when you said it's light Dollar Tree, and then you get to name it, like you get to name it whatever you want. But in the beginning, when you were saying, let's see, the type of stores, when you were saying $1, $2, $3 plus, is it like those as well? And in the end, you still name your store what you want to. Is that what you're saying?
That is correct.
Oh, okay.
That is correct. And that's something that I help you with, because for a couple of reasons. One, I want to help you make sure you pick a name that's as impactful as possible and tells the story of what your store is. But also, I'm going to check it with the Secretary of State's office in whatever state you're in to make sure that nobody else is using that name, so you don't step on somebody else's.
So John, if I understood you correctly, we are not going to use dollar store or dollar plus or 1, 2, 3 store. It's going to be our own store, and then the merchandise which we are going to buy, it is from your company. Is that correct?
I didn't hear the first part of that question. I apologize. Go ahead.
No, the first part was, we are not going to use the brand name of dollar store or dollar plus or 1, 2, 3. So it is our own store. We can give our own name. Now, the merchandise, when we buy, it has to be always through you guys. Is that correct?
No, that is not correct. I know that you're buying directly from the suppliers that are in a network, not from us. We just negotiate the prices for you. And you can
will provide us the list of the suppliers.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
And we register you as a member of our network, so you get the preferential pricing. And you can buy from anyone that you choose. You're not obligated in any way to those suppliers. I know that typically they're going to get you the best pricing, so you'll want to stay with them. But you, from time to time, you may come across a buy or a closeout, in your local market. Feel free to take advantage of that, certainly.
Okay.
Hey, John. So David, basically what you're...
Yes, go ahead.
I wanted to find out about the special you had for the 3,000 off or 3,000 down.
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up. And what that is for anybody that's on the call tonight, anyone that's on the call tonight and gets their deposit in by, I think it's next Wednesday, the 29th, when you open your store, we'll discount the price of whatever store size you pick by that $3,000.
And you have to get it in by when?
Can you repeat that?
Yes. You have to get your deposit in by April 29th, which I believe is next Wednesday. And then when your store opens, I'll deduct that $3,000 off the price of your store, or I can give you $3,000 in additional merchandise, whichever way you choose.
And so what's the deposit?
The deposit is $500, and it's fully refundable if you don't go forward for any reason.
Okay.
So, John, before we do the deposit, can you hear me, John?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so before you get the deposit, do you run our credit first just to make sure we qualify, or there's nothing on the credit that will disqualify us?
We can, but it's almost better just to have the deposit, and that way we know we can start work and go forward. And again, if for some reason if the credit isn't what it needs to be, keep in mind too that we can often do credit repair if it's something that's not that exhaustive. We have the ability to do that as well, and there's no charge for that.
What's the minimum what is the average credit score?
I'm sorry?
Or liquid amount, credit score and liquid amount that we may need to get started. Is there an average? Is there a...
Credit score, it can vary a little bit depending on the overall profile. It's not just the number. It's, how deep is the credit, things like that. And I'm not the expert, but, if you're in the mid to upper sixes, typically you're in a pretty good place as far as getting funding. That I can tell you.
Mm-hmm.
So 700, you good?
Oh, you're golden. I'll buy you.
Well, what
okay,
about?
good.
And let me say to that young lady for a minute, if you're a little bit off of that number, don't be concerned, because as I say, once they see your credit profile, there's so many things that they can do. They help you get things removed. Don't I always tell people all the time, don't think you can't get financing. Let us look at it for you, because you'd be amazed at how often we're able to accomplish that for people. So, it's worth investing a couple of days. And what I didn't mean to interrupt you, but once your application comes in, they get your credit information to look at. They'll have an answer typically within 48 hours as to if you can get funded, if so, for how much, and what the terms might be. So it's a pretty quick process. And then you can say, yeah, this sounds great, let's go, or I don't think I want to do this right now, and that's fine.
Is there something liquid that you're looking for to qualify, like depending on the size of square foot that you want, or to qualify?
Typically we can get, for if you're looking for 1,000 to 2,000 or so square feet, we can almost always get 100% funding for that. So you'd need nothing liquid.
That's good. That's great.
Yeah. So that often is the case, and like I say, once they have it in front of them, they can give you more specifics. But you'd be surprised at how often. And sometimes I've had any number of times over the years where a husband and wife each apply, and they end up with a larger store than they anticipated. It's a great thing. So
yeah.
Hey, John, question for you.
Yes,
what's the overall estimate of the price that we'll be paying your company
the overall what? I'm sorry?
to do all this? What would be an overall price, like an estimate, what we'll be paying you all for your services?
Okay. Well, as I say, for 1,000 square foot store, let's use that. It's $76,900, and that would be it.
900
a year annually?
No, one time.
That's a one time.
Yeah. If you want to send me a check every year.
Is that for the store?
Is
that for the store? The whole, that's for everything.
The 76.9 is for everything. All the services we provide, and then all the fixtures, all the merchandise to get your store open, 100%, and then the long-term support on the back end. Now, let me say.
So that's what you get.
What's that?
There's no interest with the 79,000.
No interest. If you get a loan, you'll have interest on the loan, but that's not us. The lenders are typically third-party lenders.
That'll be the lender.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you'll have an interest payment on the loan, certainly, just like if you're buying a car or a house or anything else, but it doesn't come to us. And what I would say is, if you're going to do that 1,000 square foot store, you are going to need some other funds, not that you would pay to us, but that you're going to want to have on hand. So that 76,900 store, you probably want to have, and we do this as part of the loan package, you're going to want another $15,000 or $20,000 on top of that, because you're going to need deposits for your rent when you sign your lease. You're going to need some startup money for business licenses and things of that nature. So,
so what you're saying is that money would be in the loan package.
That's correct. And what we do is yes.
The 76,000 includes all of your services and the product to get the store open, but of course the lease would be separate, and we would negotiate that and when it starts, and then we would be responsible for the lease.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
And
how much inventory is involved in a $76,000 package?
In that, it's about $32,000 at retail in that package.
I would imagine that's enough to fill 1,000
square
foot store.
Yeah, it will more than fill that store, absolutely.
Yeah.
So you'll open with a fully stocked store.
If I may ask another question, please.
Yes, go ahead.
It sounds like it does not take a lot of manpower to run one of these stores.
And that's true. It's very simple. As I said, in a 1,000 square foot store, about 74 man hours is what you need. And we put together sample schedules for you when we get to that point, so you'll have all that information available to you.
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
What is the percentage of an item to buy? Like if I want to open the store, how much do I have to pay for each item?
Okay, the average cost of goods in a dollar only store, the average cost of goods is 54 to 55 cents that you sell for a dollar. Now, some categories of merchandise, the cost is a little bit higher, maybe 60 cents or so. Some categories of merchandise, the cost is lower, but on average, 54 to 55 cents.
That's not bad.
Oh, okay.
Are any of your stores 24 hours?
No, none that I'm aware of, certainly.
Oh.
But they certainly could be.
Oh. How much it will be for
Thank you.
You're welcome.
2,000 to 3,000 square feet?
For 3,000?
Yes.
Okay. For a dollar only store, 3,000 square feet is $129.9.
Okay, and how many manpower will be needed at that on a big size like that?
I want to see if I have my sample schedules with me. I knew somebody was going to ask me that question, and my photographic memory is not photographic. On a 3,000 square foot store, about 135 work hours per week. Thought you had me, didn't you? You thought you had me there.
If you move to a bigger square footage store, the financing may not be 100% or close to that.
Not necessarily. It certainly can be 100%. Again, it depends on your credit worthiness. Often, as I say, you may have a partner or a spouse, and they'll qualify as well. So we've done any number of stores in that 2,000, 3,000, sometimes up to 4,000 square feet, and beyond, with virtually 100% financing. Every project and every owner is unique in terms of their credit profile. So, again, I always caution everybody: don't presume or assume that you're not going to get where you want to get to with regards to the financing. Let us look at it, because you'd be often very surprised.
Okay.
In other words, don't disqualify yourself.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Say if you got financing and everything went right, what's the length of time that you can open up your store? What's the length that you could open your store?
You mean how quickly?
Yes. How quickly?
Okay. Yes. If you were that's a very good question. If you were to put your deposit in place, say tomorrow morning, and tomorrow's Friday, so we would have the answer on the funding probably by Tuesday, because it takes about 48 hours, and of course the weekends are not counted. So you'd have an answer probably Tuesday or Wednesday at the latest. If you got the financing and you like the terms, we move you into real estate. From that point, real estate, it can take 30 to 45 days. That's kind of an average to look at all the available locations, have you visit them and negotiate the lease. And then it takes us about another 21 days to actually get your store open. So realistically, 2 months from start to finish.
Wow. That's not bad.
No, and it's, I always want to make sure that we take the time necessary to look at all the viable locations. We're getting some background noise there. Whoever that is, if you can mute your phone. There's some screeching noises back there.
Hey John, so what is the average lease cost in California?
Oh golly,
for 1,000 square feet.
Whatever number I give you, I'll be honest with you, is going to be incorrect. Because even within markets, even within, so I mean, even take Southern California, take L.A. County, Riverside County. There are pockets where the rents can be significantly lower than an area 3, 4, 5 miles away. So what we do is so what we do is when we start to look, we look at a lot of things, because it's not it's funny. It's not only the rent; it's what the rent buys you in terms of the ability to do business. And I've seen any
Yeah.
number of cases where here's a store space, right? And the rent is just throw out a number, $12 a foot. It's kind of a second level center, and here's a new shiny center about three miles away, and the rent's
Yeah.
$24 a foot. Well, what I know is that if the $12 a foot center is busy and there's good traffic around it, I can make more money doing less business at the shiny center because my rent factor is so much lower. So that's the kind of analysis that we do when you're in real estate.
Oh yeah.
Because it's not just
okay.
rent; it's what the rent buys you in terms of the ability to do business. So we work all
Exactly.
those numbers with you. So yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
What type
Cool.
of
Cool.
discounts or benefits are you offering veterans?
I'm sorry, ma'am, I didn't get that.
What type of benefits or discounts are you offering for veterans?
Veterans, we have another $2,500 that we take off of the price of whatever store size you ultimately develop. And if you are a veteran, thank you for your service, and that's for any other veterans out there. And we always make sure that once somebody comes on board, we bring that up so that somebody who has served our country, we want to make sure that we do something for them as well.
Hoorah.
Awesome. Thank you.
So
You're
what
very
about
welcome.
what about the averages, John?
That's a good question. How much average you are going to make? Suppose 2,000 square foot store.
I can't answer that question. You're making trouble for me. I'm being honest with you, because you may be, and I don't know where you are, sir, but I could fill a book with what I don't know about the location that you're ultimately going to decide to go forward on, and that's what is the rent, who are the competitors, what's the average sales per foot of the shopping center. If there's a grocery store, what is the grocery store doing? There's so many factors that I have to kind of fold together to come up with that set of numbers for you, and that's why we look at a lot of locations, and as we look at locations, and we know what the final numbers are, we know what the rent is, how the landlord's going to deliver the space, what the free rent amount is, then I can kind of work together with you to come up with a reasonable set of numbers so you can make a good decision. And sometimes the answer is
Hey,
no.
John,
Yeah.
What is your guys' success rate?
As I said earlier, somebody asked that question. I'd say within a 3-year span, there's probably about a 10% or so spin-off for any number of reasons. Somebody's maybe a little underfunded and they should have waited and they didn't. And we always caution people not to go forward if you're not, financially solid. And as I said, sometimes people find that owning a business is just not for them. And occasionally there have been a couple of situations over the years where, and I'll give you one quick example. We had a gentleman years ago, and I had a space for him. It was in Tennessee, I think, and there was a space. It was directly next to the grocery store, and people would fall into his front door. I just knew it was a home run location, and it was, I think at the time it was like $1.10 a square foot, something like that. And there was a space at the other end of the center, all by itself, with like 6 empty stores between him and the grocery store, and it was 5 cents less a foot. And he said, "I want that space." And I said, "Please don't, please don't." But he went forward, and he was just not successful.
Gotcha.
Oh wow.
Sometimes.
Can somebody please mute their phone,
yes,
John?
Please. Whoever's got their phone open or they're on speaker and there's noise around them, please mute that phone. Thank you. I think that's better.
Hey, John.
Yes, sir.
Is it possible to purchase the building instead of paying another landlord rent?
Certainly.
In the equation?
Yes, certainly you can, and we can help you with that as well. We've got licensed real estate agents here in the office, and if there is a location that makes sense, unless it's a great deal, I always kind of caution somebody to rent rather than buy initially, so you make sure that the business is right for you and things of that nature. But yeah, absolutely. Sometimes we've got 2 people that are doing that right now because the locations are so attractive. So.
There's a lot of abandoned buildings just sitting there that I always see for sale.
Oh yeah. No, we have a gentleman right now. We found a building that had 3 storefronts in it. He's going to use one for a store. He's going to rent out the other 2, and they'll end up paying his rent, so to speak.
Right. Okay.
Oh, that's good. That's
yeah, it's
good.
certainly something that can happen.
Okay.
Okay. Other questions?
All right.
Hey, I've got a question.
I have a question.
Ladies first.
Ladies
Ladies first.
Anything
Go ahead.
else you want us to know?
No, I think that's it for the moment. Go ahead. Hold on just a second. Go ahead, young lady.
Oh, you said that there's no royalties paid for that, right?
That is correct. No royalties, no fees. Only the package price of the store for whatever size you choose.
Oh, okay. Sounds good.
And to that gentleman, you said. Yes, go ahead.
How long is the financing will be? What's the term of it?
Oh, it can vary depending on the program that you select. Sometimes 3 years, sometimes 5 years, sometimes 6. And again, I would ask whoever's got that background noise, please mute the phone if you would. We're gonna hunt you down, whoever that is. Go ahead. Other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? And if you have more questions, I know you will. Reach out to us. If you have a sales representative that you're speaking to, reach him. Otherwise, you can contact me.
I do have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
One thing I'm a little confused on is, since I've been looking into this for a while and I haven't gotten deep into it yet. I mean, there's Dollar Tree, there's Family Dollar, there's this, that, and the other thing. There's a lot of them, so I'm not sure about all of, how they all fit together. Now, I think you said Dollar Tree is a corporate store.
That is correct. And
okay,
actually,
the options.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. I want to hear you.
Yeah, Dollar Tree, Family Dollar, Dollar General, and 99 only if they exist in your part of the world. They're primarily on the West Coast, but any of those stores are all corporately owned, just like a Walmart, for example. An individual can't own one; they can't buy one. So what we've done for 24 years is open stores that are virtually the same for people like you and me that would love to own a Dollar Tree, but just can't. So our models kind of mirror what they do, whether it's our Dollar Only store is the same as Dollar Tree. Our Dollar Plus stores are the same as Family Dollar or Dollar General. And then, of course, we have the 1 to 3 store and the 1 to 5 store, which is something that we've created, which I think is very unique and very powerful.
So we would have a choice of 4 different formats or models.
That is correct. And what we do is no matter what you select in terms of that format, what we do in real estate is as we see locations and we start to look at them, we're going to tell you that location A might be best suited for a Dollar Only store, or location B, based on the competition and the demographics and other things that we look at, this location might be better for a 1, 2, 3 store. So we're always going to make those recommendations to you. And of course, you're going to make the final decision, but we do everything we can to kind of give you the best information.
And your first name is Bruce?
Is John. If you Bruce is probably your store development sales representative. If you got an email from him with his name.
Email or a text? Yeah.
Yeah. So Bruce is the person. Yeah, Bruce is the person then you should reach out to. You can always call me as well. And my number is 702-570-3911. But Bruce is probably the best person to get a hold of, or David, if David's name was on your email or text, because they have all your information.
Again, though, your number was 702?
Yes, 570-3911. And I will tell you that texting is always the best because I'm on the phone like all the time. So
okay.
I don't want you to get frustrated.
You're California based. You are.
We're in actually in Nevada, but same time zone.
Okay. Okay. All righty. But again,
John,
I did get
hold on just a moment, sir. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. John, out of curiosity, how to choose the name to our store so we can have the benefit of dollar store brand, dollar store brand.
Okay. Good question. Well, when we work with you to select a name, first thing is I've got a list of several hundred names that have been used or considered in the past, and I start by sending that to you so we can kind of brainstorm a little bit. And the most important thing is obviously to have the word dollar in the name. Everything else comes second. And the shorter the name, the better, because when you go to do your outdoor sign, the shorter the name, the larger the letters can be. And what you want to do is hit people between the eyes with what you are and what you do. So, I've always and sign gets less expensive too. I told somebody the other day, I said, you can call yourself Dollar Value, or you can call it Jerry Berrigan's Discount Dollar Store, but your sign is going to be about the size of a postage stamp, so I don't recommend that. So, and we'll always have those conversations. So.
Okay, John, I have a question.
Yes.
Because I already have, I'm doing a little business already.
Oh, very good.
And I can also use the name that I'm doing for my business as well, and just add the dollar in there somewhere, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll help
for
you
like a
figure
second
out.
business.
I'll help you figure out what's the best way to go at that. What kind of a business do you have, if I can ask?
Right now, I'm doing notary, and I'm also, that's when you mentioned the notary stuff. I'm doing notary, and I do car titles.
Oh,
but of course, I would change it to something totally different.
Sure, no. We'll
still
work
with the same first name that I use. Okay.
That notary service is great because, as you, I'm sure, know, it's getting more and more difficult to find a notary.
Exactly.
The banks used to all have them. They don't have them. The mailbox stores, they're only there 2 hours a day. I'm a notary too, so people are bending my elbow all the time.
And it's getting very, a lot of people are like, well, I'll go to the bank. Well, the bank has stopped. They're beginning to charge you a little bit for it, doing it as well, even if you're a customer.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So I don't just do it at a business. I also do go to you as far as that goes too.
No, that's great. That's a nice, easy service to add, and I encourage all of our stores to do that because people need it. It costs you pretty much nothing to get into it. You got to post the bond.
Nothing.
It's not that expensive, and buy your stamp and your book, and you're off to the races. So no, it's a great thing.
That's right.
It's
One-stop shop.
Yep, it's just like the mailbox rentals. People don't. It's funny. It occurred to me about a year ago. It's something we should start having our stores do because it costs a couple $1,000s to set up, but then that customer's in your store every other day. Checking their mail. Checking their mail. You got.
And that's what I was.
Yeah. You got multiple opportunities.
I also thought about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also thought about that mailbox place as well.
Yeah, whether you do the store or you just, you stay on your own, it's something you should do because it's easy and it's, the mailboxes rent depend on where you are, $20 to $30 a month. You have enough boxes rented, they'll pay you rent, and you see that customer, like I say, every couple of days.
Okay, I want to also, I'm going to send you a text as well because I have another question, but I'll text it to you tomorrow.
Okay. Very good.
Because I'm the one that called you earlier when no one was on the.
And thank you again so much for that. I really appreciate that.
Sure,
no problem.
It was good to know.
Look, she try to get points and stuff.
You let her alone.
I don't need points. Look, I don't need points. I'm not going to even deal with John. I'm dealing with David.
Yep. What is your name? I'm sorry.
Ma'am, I'm just having fun.
Ma'am, what's your name?
Thenia.
Who?
Thenia, I'm sorry.
Thenia.
Okay.
Where are you from?
Yeah. I live in Fort Worth, Texas.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm in Cali.
Yeah.
All right.
Good. You stay in Cali. You don't cross in state
Hey,
lines.
hey, John. Hey, John. You remember I talked to you later. I'm at Rancho Cucamonga. Remember?
Yes, I do. I thought I recognized.
Yeah. This Curtis.
Yeah. How you doing? All right.
Yeah. I'm good. I'm great. I'm just waiting. I'm ready to do it. But I'm ready though.
All right. There's no You just got to do it.
Yes, sir.
All right. And Athene, I'll talk to you tomorrow. I'll watch
Thank
for your
you,
text
John.
and I'll get right back to you.
Okay, I'll text you tomorrow.
Great. And thanks again. Any other questions? I think
we're good.
It's down to us. So thank you.
I have one, John. John, I have one question.
Yes.
Okay. Is it extra money to set up the mailbox, the key making, the printing, the banner printing?
Yes.
And the lottery ticket?
Yeah, they all cost. They have additional costs because they're not part of our package, and not everybody does them. I'll give you some round numbers. The key duplication that runs, I think, about $1,300, and that's the tower, the key machine, the cutting machine, and about 500 blanks to get started with.
Oh wow!
It's very easy to set up. As I say, the keys cost about 42 cents a piece. You sell them for $1 or 2 for $3. You look at what people are selling them for. But I know I got one done at Home Depot the other day. It was like $5 for a single cut key.
I know,
huh? So that's a great program. The mailboxes, for a bank of 20 boxes, I think the cost of that, and we don't make any money on this. It's just I just put it together because I think stores can do well with it. I think the bank of mailboxes is about $2,500, and then you can buy a piece of software for $200, and I have the information on that. You put it on a computer at your counter, and that software helps you rent the boxes. It keeps track of when somebody needs to pay you, their rent for the next month. You can also automatically send them an email when they have mail, so they come in and get it.
Okay.
Yeah. And,
hey, will that fit in 1,000 square feet, John?
Oh yeah, the mailboxes take up the initial bank of 20 takes up it's about 1 foot by 4 feet on the floor. Key machine is about 2 square feet on your counter. Yeah, absolutely. And the notary is like your stamp. So.
Oh yeah.
The lottery ticket?
Lottery, I have to do homework on that once I know where you are because it's different in every area, but we can help you with that.
It's in Miami. I'm in Miami.
Okay, I would do the homework on that for you. It's a question I can't answer now, but I'm sure you can get it.
Okay.
Did you say that 76,000? Did that include all the merchandise that you need in the store?
Yes.
Or that's something separate?
No, it's a fully stocked store, 100%.
Oh wow, that's good.
John, I have one question, please.
Yes, sir.
Coming back to the sale of wine and beer.
Yes.
I'm in California, and I understand that the government is not giving license to the new stores, liquor stores.
Exactly.
Unless you already own a liquor store, then you can have it transferred, but you cannot apply for new license. Is that true?
That's a question I can't answer. Now, is that for spirits or just beer and wine?
Beer and wine you mentioned, right?
Yes. And I will say I'm not aware of that.
I think it's liquor.
Yeah, liquor licenses are much more difficult. Beer and wine are typically in most areas fairly easy to secure, but I don't want to tell you that. It's something I'll find out.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah, we'll appreciate if you can find us about.
We're gonna need, if you get beer and wine, we're gonna need security.
No, if you come on board, if you do come on board and that's something that you want to look to do, I'll certainly do the homework for you. Do it all the time.
I have a question.
Yes,
Jen.
Yes, young lady.
For you, ma'am.
So you usually try to get at least 6 months free rent on the buildings or not?
We negotiate for as much as we possibly can. Usually not less than 3 months. And then it kind of depends. It's a negotiation like anything else. It depends on how hungry the landlord is, uh, what he has to do in the space. If for example, if we find a space, it's 100% ready for you to move in. The landlord doesn't have to invest a penny. Typically, we can get a longer free rent period because it's not going to cost them anything to lease you the space, so to speak. But if we have a center or a space rather where the landlord has to put in flooring, he's got to replace the drop ceiling, he's got to do things where he's got to invest in the space to make it ready for you, the free rent period may be shorter because economically it's kind of got to make sense for him too. But we grind as hard as we can, believe me. They hate to hear us on the phone.
That's what I'm talking about.
No, and I'm very serious about that.
I have one last question, John.
Yes, go ahead.
John, I don't know if someone asked this question already, but you said the store is fully stocked for the $76,000. Now, what's the full value of a fully stocked store?
Okay, in that 1,000 square foot dollar store, the merchandise piece of it is about $32,000 at retail.
That's pretty good.
And then plus the cost of the fixtures.
I'm sorry?
So your pay will be like half of the 76,000, right?
No, absolutely not. I wish. If you can work that out for me, that'd be wonderful. No, because you have the inventory, you've got all the store fixtures, you've got the interior signage, you've got an allowance towards the cost of your outdoor sign, you've got the freight to get everything there, the fixtures and the merchandise. I have to send a crew there to receive everything, to assemble the fixtures and stock the store. We have to first find the location, so I have people working in real estate to do that and to negotiate the lease for you. So there's a lot of other items. Yes.
John, does that include back inventory with a fully stocked store?
Most often it does include some back inventory, not in every case, but I always strive to do that. And the reason I say not always is because depending on how the store is configured, like in some cases you have a 1,000 square foot store, it's 20 feet wide and 50 feet deep, right? Some stores may be wider and shallower, so I have to put more counters in them because it's wider. So it becomes a little bit more of a challenge. It doesn't quite sound like it makes sense, but it does. So I have to put more display space in there to make the store fixtured the way it should be, and we bear that cost. But that sometimes means that there may not be as much or any back stock.
So how many counters is a 1,000 square feet, John?
I have no idea. No, because every space is different. Typically it'd be, if the store is 20 feet wide, it would be 2 runs of shelving front to back. And then, of course, we put slat wall on all the walls. We go up 8 feet high, and we merchandise all that as well.
Do we need refrigerators or something like that for perishable items?
I would say if you're going to do EBT, then yes, you're going to have to get a 2-door refrigerator. I'm always going to recommend, and I'll help you find these in each instance, to pick up a used 2-door cooler, even if you're not going to do EBT, because you can buy drinks to sell, water, pop, things to sell when people are waiting in line, because it's a nice add-on sale and it's pretty profitable. And then most often we can get Coke and Pepsi to provide a cooler at no charge if you buy their product and put in it. So, yeah. It's always a good idea. In my stores years ago, I always bought at least one used 2-door cooler. I'll give you an example. I could go to Sam's Club or the grocery store and I could buy a 32-bottle pack of water, 4 packs for $10. So it'd be like 18 cents a bottle, and I could sell it all day for $1 cold. So
that's what I'm talking about. Make that money, John.
That's it. I'm right there with
John,
you. Yes, sir.
How is inventory delivered to the store? Do you require a commercial vehicle?
Yeah, it comes directly from the suppliers. And you have 2 different kinds of suppliers. You've got general merchandise suppliers that supply a lot of different categories. And we have them scattered geographically around the country. So wherever you are, there's going to be a number of them close to you. So turnaround time is going to be about About 3 to 5 days from the time you place an order to when you get it. And that those will ship common carrier like a truck line because they're bigger orders. And then we have like specialty suppliers for small electronics or jewelry or greeting cards, things like that, where they're kind of a one category supplier. That'll typically come UPS or FedEx.
Okay. Oh yeah.
John,
There you go.
do you know anything about how high the insurance for the store will be in California?
Yeah, it's a question I kind of can't answer. It varies so much by area. And then keep in mind, too, the landlords in their leases will specify what type of insurance, the level of coverage that you have to have for liability. It's not onerous in most cases. It's reasonable, but whatever number I give you, I know is going to be incorrect.
Oh, because it also has to be included that workers' compensation, right?
Yes, yeah, work comp has to be included, and we can help you shop that. And most often, what I do is when there's two ways to go at getting quotes for insurance. One, most of the time, whoever has your personal insurance either does commercial insurance or can recommend somebody that he does business with or she does business with that can work for you. And then I always contact the landlord in the shopping center and ask them, who do most of your tenants use for their liability insurance? And sometimes you can get a better rate because they're doing other work in that center and they know exactly what the lease is going to call for and all of that. So.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I wish I could give you a number that you could kind of hold in your hand. I just can't.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm in Riverside.
Okay. Nice
Riverside. I'm in Rancho. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, no, we can.
John.
Well, thank you, and thank you. And once we get into real estate, we can help you with that insurance question as well. So.
Okay. Good.
Very good.
Well, thank you. Have a
thank
good
you.
day.
You have a good evening. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? We're good?
Yeah, I think we're good.
Yeah, we are good. Thank you.
All right. I look forward to having the opportunity to work with all of you. Keep in touch, okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you all.
All right, John. You have a good night.
You as well. Take care.
Thank you, John, for your time.